I got some really bad news for all of you who had hoped to play all of your PSVR1 games on the PSVR2, because we have just learned from the official PlayStation podcast that the PSVR2 is not going to be downwards compatible with PSVR1 games. So no Astrobot for you, no Resident Evil 7, and none of the other games will be able to be played by PSVR2 out of the box. Now, that is a bit sad, and the question is this a logical step, or does this make sense, or is it just a failure? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. So absolutely stay tuned, watch the whole video, because all of this goodness is coming up. Welcome back to MRTV. My name is Sebastian, and hit the like and the subscribe on your way in if you're excited about virtual reality. And now let's directly get into our topic. We didn't know yet if the PSVR2 would be able to play PSVR1 games, but honestly, I assumed that it would be able to play PSVR1 games out of the box, simply because, well, there's like hundreds of really amazing games. And well, if somebody buys that new shiny PSVR2, I would have thought that like, okay, you want to have this huge back catalog of VR games ready directly, instead of just having like 20 shiny PSVR2 games and that's it. But no, oh my goodness, we have just learned from the PlayStation podcast that it's not compatible. So let's listen in to the podcast. And I did link the podcast down below so you can listen to yourself if you don't believe me, but it is actually true. So in this latest episode, we hear from Hideaki Nishino, and he's the SVP of Platform Experience at PlayStation. So he knows what he's talking about, and this whole podcast is about the PlayStation VR2. So it's an interesting podcast. You should listen in. So let us listen in. It starts at 29 minutes and 11 seconds. Let's do it. Let's listen in why the whole thing is not compatible with PSVR1 games.
Okay, and while I have you here, I've been getting some questions from some friends and some gamers just about whether or not they might be able to play original PlayStation VR games on PlayStation VR2. So, what say you?
PSVR games are not compatible with PSVR2 because PSVR2 is designed to deliver a truly next-generation VR experience.
Okay, yeah. It makes sense that it's going to be the next VR experience, but still, what about the hundreds of amazing games? What about Astrobot that I really wanted to play with that shiny new console, with that shiny new headset? Yeah, let's see if the reasons why PSVR 2 is not compatible with all the PSVR 1 games are getting any better.
PSVR 2 has much more advanced features like all-new controller with haptics feedback and adaptive triggers, as I said, and inside-out tracking, eye tracking in it, 3D audio is coming together, 4K HDR, of course.
Yes, of course, the PSVR 2 has all these advanced features, but in my opinion, that is no reason not to make it backwards compatible with all these amazing games. I'm totally fine to play Blood and Truth here, Blood and Truth, yeah, not with these amazing new trigger things. Just let me play it on that new console, right? I have already this huge back catalog of games, and now we're starting from zero, and all these old games are not accessible for me anymore. Oh no. But you know what? Let's listen in if the reasoning is going to get any better.
This means developing games for PSVR 2 requires a whole different approach than the original PSVR. These features actually enable developers to create the worlds that feel more vivid and alive, and bring players closer to the gameplay experience than ever. I believe that.
Of course, yeah, it makes sense that the new games will be better, of course, but that is not a reason, that is not in my book, that is not a great reason not to make the headset backwards compatible, right? So it's, in my opinion, like a really bad answer to that question, and it's a sad answer, in my opinion. Let's see if there's anything more that Mr. Hideaki Nishino has to say about that.
Games like Resident Evil Village and the Horizon Call of the Mountain actually that show how developers are using PSVR2 to deliver the whole new level of the visual and audio, sensory immersion in the VR games, which was really, really nice experience to me. I really enjoyed that.
So before we wrap up,
Oh, really? Okay, that was the whole answer. So yeah, he does enjoy the new experiences on the PSVR2. And yeah, that's the reason now it's not going to work. Yeah, so unfortunately, he did not get into like why exactly that would have been such a big problem. Because why not work on some kind of compatibility, not an easy word for a non-native speaker, compatibility layer. And I'm sure this could have been done, like especially for the tracking, right? The tracking, this front-facing tracking, it is not so great. And obviously, the new inside-out tracking is way better. And I'm sure they could have done some compatibility layer to make that happen and to let us enjoy all the games that we have already paid for, right? MOS 1 and MOS 2 with that better tracking. Because honestly speaking, sometimes I simply did have problems with the tracking on the PSVR1, and to be able to replay those PSVR1 games on the PSVR2 with a much better tracking, this would have been great. But I get it, the control scheme from the PSVR1 games to the PSVR2 games, that would have been a bit more tricky, because since the PSVR1 does not have this analog thumbstick controller, like all the developers had to find their own solution, kind of, to make the locomotion happen. And some use teleport, or some use the way where you would use that move controller to show the direction that you want to go, right? So there are different kind of ways that the developers made this happen. However, I still believe that Sony could have probably found like 3, 4, 5 standard methods that the developers used, and then do this compatibility layer, and then simply choose for each and every game, okay, this one uses teleport, method 1, this one uses the standard move controller kind of movement, this uses method number 2. So I do believe this would have been possible, but simply not giving it to us. In my opinion, it does feel quite a bit of lazy, right? So now PSVR2, it starts with those games that come out now for PSVR2. I don't know how many, probably 20 or so, and that's it. And of course, when the Quest Pro comes out, there's going to be hundreds of games. Obviously, it is compatible with all the other games, right? Or the Pico 4 comes out, and of course, it is compatible with all the Pico 3 titles, right? So just like PSVR2, with all these amazing PSVR1 games, Astrobot, Resident Evil, or Dreams, or all these cool games, they are not there. They are gone. So that is really sad, and it is. Should I say failure? But it just feels. It feels not great, and I feel that Sony is missing out here. So what could happen? Of course, the game developers, they could patch the old PSVR1 games and make them compatible for PSVR2. This might happen. We don't know yet, right? I could also imagine, actually, that they are going to have like remastered titles, right? Like Astrobot Enhanced Edition, right? Or, I don't know, Resident Evil 7 Enhanced Edition, and all these kind of things. But if this happens, well, you can be quite sure that these enhanced editions will be completely new titles that you have to pay again for, right? Just like The Last of Us PS5 edition, you have to pay the full price. And honestly speaking, that I think is really, really sad. And I don't really want to pay again. I mean, who wants to pay again for games that they've already paid for? So, in my book, that is really unfortunate, not having this compatibility layer and, going the extra mile and having that huge PSVR1 library directly somehow accessible for PSVR2 gamers that now have to start with like 20 games, whereas all that Steam catalog, right, for PSVR players is huge. The Quest catalog is huge, and the Pico catalog is getting bigger and bigger every single day. So that is tough. I want to hear from you. What is your opinion? Yes, you. About that. Please leave your comment down in the comment section of this video. What are you guys thinking? Does it make sense that PSVR 2 is not compatible to PSVR 1 games? Or is it something that is truly a failure on the Sony side? Do leave your comments down in the comment section of this video, or discuss this with us on the MRTV Discord server. The link is down in the description of this video. There is a great PSVR1 channel where we could talk about this. I really want to know what you're thinking about this. Yeah, that is everything I got for this video. I hope you enjoyed this breaking news live stream. If yes, give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed to MRTV, absolutely do that now and click on the bell button so that you don't miss anything. And now I'm looking forward to see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.